Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Division. I am Death from Above. Today we're going to be talking about tactics, talking about how to use cover in a third-person cover-based shooter. Now, The Division is a third-person cover-based shooter where you are going to be in third person the whole time and you're going to have to use cover. You can attach yourself to this cover during firefights and use it as protection. So, we're going to talk about effective uses of cover, give some examples, and kind of go over how you can prepare for this, because I know The Division is not out yet. The beta will be in early 2016, and The Division full game releases in March of 2016. So you can't play it yet to prepare, but there are other games that are similar that you can play to prepare and kind of get a general feel of the third-person shooter with cover-based mechanics in place. So let's talk about using cover in The Division. From what I've seen, you're wanting to always be behind cover when you're engaging in a firefight. The only time you wouldn't be behind cover is one, if you're using the blast shield, or two, you're advancing. Most of the time when you engage an enemy, you want to be behind cover. I would say, unless you know you can win, or unless you know it's an NPC, always be behind cover. Always be planning your next move to cover, and be prepared to fight behind that cover. Learn how to do this really well. You'll get very used to moving around cover once you play the game for a while. But if you want a game that's very similar, is a little bit different, it's going to play a little bit different, but is a third-person cover-based shooter, it is Gears of War. Gears of War is a much more aggressive style game. You're not going to be using cover the same way as you would in The Division. You're not going to be using teamwork the same way. But you can take your buddies, you can go into the Gears of War and just play horde mode. Play something that you can get a team in, third-person cover-based shooter, and get in there and blast them. There's no RPG in Gears of War. It's just straight up action shooter with a third-person and cover. So go do that if you really want to prepare. You really want to get into the style. That's a great game to do it. I might actually go do that later. So pull out my old Gears of War and play them, and that'll be fun. But general tactics for third-person cover-based shooters: always be behind cover, and don't just stay where you are. You need to be, even though you're behind cover, you need to be mobile. You need to be taking some shots, moving to your next place, taking some shots, moving to your next place. So always be mobile. That's a key to any shooter, especially in PvP, person versus person. You always want to be moving. So if you're fighting other players, take some shots, take a guy out, move to the next place. Take some shots, move to the next place. Use your team movement. Make sure you're not crossing fire lines, but always be moving. General key. So once you are shooting from one place, the enemy will recognize it and start returning fire. So you want to make sure you're either pinning them down or moving to your next position. Leads me to the next point: Hipfire and the different types of firing in The Division. So in most shooters, there are two types of firing: aiming down sights, or ADS, and hipfire. In this one, there are three. There's ADS, hipfire, and cover fire. We're going to call it cover fire, but firing from behind cover. They're all going to have different levels of accuracy. Obviously, ADS will be the most accurate. Hipfire, I think, will be second. Cover fire will be third. Cover fire is not meant to kill. Cover fire is meant to keep the enemy down, or keep a distraction, or to do something. If you kill an enemy, it's good, but it's not necessarily the main goal. So remember those types of fire, that there are different types of fire, and there's different accuracies to that fire. So don't be cover firing the whole time. You're not gonna be as effective if you're trying to get the enemy kills. You're gonna have to pop in and out, use that type of fire. But team play, that's gonna be very, very key in The Division. Team play. So team movement, team play. When you're playing in the dark zone, make sure you're communicating very well. That's one of the things playing Destiny has taught me, doing raids and doing high-level PvP. Communication is very key. You're gonna have to communicate very well with your team, what you're doing, when you're moving, how you're doing it. So when you're moving cover, say you're on the left side, your team's on the right. If you're moving more to the right or more to the left, you're gonna have to let them know, hey, moving around left, flanking left, or moving to you, moving right. It's very helpful when you're taking out enemies or coordinating as a team. Another thing with cover-based shooters is don't leave your flanks exposed. You're gonna be looking for that cover, but you also need to keep track of the enemy, and it's more difficult with a cover-based shooter because the enemies are going to be behind cover. They're not just going to be running around. So you're gonna have to make sure you know where they are and you don't move to cover that's gonna get you flanked, or move to cover that is being flanked at the moment. So be very careful with that. Coordinate with your team, pay attention to the health, and really cover movement depends on the class you're playing. If you're playing the aggressive class, you're going to be moving up, using less cover, moving more often. If you're playing back as a DPS class or a healer class, you're going to be staying behind cover more, moving less. So those are my thoughts on general cover-based third-person shooter mechanics and movement and strategies. It will unfold and become more nuanced as the game is released and as things progress, but I'll update it as I can. But that's it for now. Let me know what you think, guys. Do you think it's going to play as you expected? What do you think is going to come up that you maybe don't expect? And what questions do you have for me on the Division? What would you like to know? I'm more than happy to answer. I'm looking for ideas on videos, so leave those in the comments below, and I would love to hear from you guys. So I'm going to get out of here. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you want to see more videos. Let me know you enjoyed them, and I really appreciate the views. So until next time, I'm thrid. I will see you later. See you, bye.